Welcome back, everyone. So this morning we are joined by our favourite politician, that is Ben Habib. Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Paul. It's a very kind introduction.
Oh, my pleasure. Ben, listen, one of the reasons that I contacted you this morning was because, well, I've been absolutely inundated, and I mean inundated. I think yesterday alone, I had about 500 emails from people asking me to pass on my thanks to you for giving everyone a new air of optimism and hope that is sweeping across the country. And in many ways, Ben, that is down to you. That's very clear from my inbox. Have you been surprised from, by the level of support from your supporters, both old and new?
The frank answer is I have been surprised. I set a target, as you know, Paul, of 30,000 members before we applied to the Electoral Commission for Advance UK to become a fully registered party. And I thought it would take us about 6 months to get to 30,000 members. Remember, it took the Brexit Party, which then became Reform, 4 years to do that. That's what their membership was just before the general election. And I thought 6 months would be a pretty good time frame in which to get us to the same position that Reform was in June 2024. That was ambitious in itself, but we are pushing. We're pushing 30,000, and we're 6 or 7 weeks into our existence. And I can't see us not hitting that target within the next 2 or 3 weeks now. And it's been a phenomenal response, and it's been phenomenal.
Brilliant, Ben. I mean, look, you've clearly struck a chord with what I would class as just, ordinary, regular people. What do you think what is it that's making you different? Why are people resonating with you? Someone who has probably had, if you don't mind me saying, a far more privileged background than many of the people that are following you. Do you have any idea yourself what's making you different and how you're resonating with ordinary people?
I don't know what it is that perhaps in my character or the way that I communicate resonates with what it is that gets people interested. But I think perhaps it's this. I'm in politics because I absolutely believe I need to be in order to help save the United Kingdom. I do think the country is in a dire state. I believe I've got a pretty good handle on what the issues are. We see lots of different symptoms of the issues, but the fundamental issues, I think I've now got pretty clearly in my mind. And I just try and reveal what those issues are and provide solutions for them. And that's all I've been trying to do. And it obviously is resonating. And I think people understand and accept, rightly so, that I am committed to putting the country on a proper path again.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't mind me saying, Ben, I think I've got a rough idea as to why it's occurring. And I think a brilliant example of that was during your recent interview with Liam Tufts. I think you endeared yourself to a lot of people. When the big moment come, Liam asked you if you were streetwise, and your answer has been described by a lot of people as one of the most honest they've ever heard from a politician. Now, the thing is, Ben, the people are streetwise.
Well, thank you. I think I said I'm naive. I probably am.
Naive, that's it, naive, yeah.
And I think it takes a degree of naivety to do the kind of thing that I've just embarked on. You just got to think, sod it, I'm doing it. And, there's a very thin line between bravery and stupidity, isn't there? And but I think what I'm doing is absolutely necessary, and someone's got to have a go. And if I hadn't had a go, there was no chance of it succeeding, because it's a bit like the fisherman who sits on the side of the river and complains that the conditions aren't right to fish, and sits there having a cigarette complaining about everything. Well, you won't catch a fish if you just sit on the riverbank. You've actually got to put your fly in the water.
Yeah.
You've got to get your rod out and put your fly in the water. So I'm putting my fly in the water, and I'm seeing if we can make this thing happen. And the feedback, as we've discussed, has been phenomenal. The membership sign-up rate has been phenomenal, and the support that I've got. I'm staggered by the number of emails you got yesterday, Paul, but also I've been in receipt of thousands of emails and messages over the last 6-7 weeks, encouraging me to continue to go on. And by the way, lots of people from Reform saying, thank goodness you've done it. We're coming across.
Well, that's clearly very evident. I mean, with our numbers growing, and I say ours, I'm a confirmed and committed Advanced UK member. This is where the vast majority of our support is coming from at the moment, I would imagine, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think there are two constituencies from which the support's coming. The first is obviously disenchanted former reformers who have seen reform for what it is and the way I've seen it and you've seen it. And then I think there is literally a silent group of people in the United Kingdom who have withdrawn themselves from politics. They've lost hope. They don't believe in the democratic process itself and in the institutions that govern us. They're completely denuded of aspiration and hope in the country. And they've seen administration after administration make promises and let them down. And I think we're connecting with them too, Paul. I think they see that this is a genuine, proper, committed fight back, and they want to be part of it. Yeah. And I hope that we can re-engage with them. I hope we give them hope and aspiration. And I hope that we then do not let them down. I hope that we will stand our ground, come hell or high water, and either die with our swords our proverbial swords in our hands, or succeed.
Yeah.
And I very much hope it's the latter. I actually think it'll be the latter. You look what's happening across Western Europe and the United States of America at the moment, and there is a fight back from people who believe in their countries. They want it. And I think this could be the party for the United Kingdom to deliver it here.
Absolutely. We seem to be winning the social media battle, but how do we win those over that are still sitting at home, maybe watching one of just 3 or 4 TV channels? I mean, I don't even like talking about him, to be fair, but we had Nigel Farage on I'm a Celebrity. Do we need to get Ben Habib on Love Island? I mean, what are we going to do, Ben? How are we going to reach those people?
I probably prefer I'm a Love Island to, what's it called?
Love Island. I'm a Celebrity,
I prefer that to eating cockroaches. If you're going to put me into something, at least there'll be some beautiful girls around. But no, I think one of the reasons I set this 30,000 self-imposed target of 30,000 members was so that we do have a ground game. We have an army. But at the time that we become a political party, we will have an army.
Yeah.
And we're already printing leaflets, getting caps done, getting Corex boards ready, getting flags ready.
Brilliant.
All sorts of things. And we're sending them out to people who are asking for them already. People are going on the doorstep. Yeah. And I'll tell you something else, Paul, which is really interesting. You may or may not have had this feedback. But the people who are already the beginning of delivering leaflets for us, are feeding anecdotal evidence back, saying people on the doorstep know who Advanced UK are. And when I used to knock on doors for reform, only a year and a half ago, January 2024, when I stood in Wellingborough for the first time, which actually put reform on the map. When I first knocked on doors in Wellingborough, people didn't know who the hell reform was. It went like touch paper from January through to June. And I think we're seeing the same thing with Advance, but much, much earlier on, much earlier than Reform had it. And I think there's a reason for that too, apart from believing in us and in our message and our commitment. I think people have also absolutely broken their cultural propensity to either vote Labour or Conservative. They're looking for something new. They want it. Whereas before, it was a kind of default vote. I think people are now, actually looking out for things that they can believe in, so I think we will get into the psyche of the electorate at large pretty quickly.
Hopefully that'll be the case. That was the other thing that so many people have been asking me about, is promotional leaflets, banners, etc., etc. So, the army is on the move. How are you finding your newfound fame, if you like, and popularity? Have you sort of noticed a difference in the way people are recognising you and speaking with you?
Well, a couple of things, 3 things have happened, I think, in my personal life. The first is that GB News and Talk, who had always had me on virtually non-stop, have both gone cold on me. Now, that's been quite interesting to me that they would do that. which suggests to me there are other forces in play of which I was not previously aware. The second thing is I am just all over podcasts, such as yourself and others. And that seems to be winning the day. Talk and GB News. I think the podcast circuit and committed podcasters and presenters like yourself are really getting me in there. Then the third thing that's taking place, which no one will be aware of, is that the burden of what I've taken on, the responsibility of it weighs heavily on me. I think about it nonstop. And I know that I'm taking on something which it's going to get bigger and bigger. I can see that now. And there's going to be no calm moments.
No
I think
rest for the wicked.
Of my life. Yeah, I think for the rest of my life, Paul, I think this is probably this is a train I've got on, which will keep me busy for the rest of my life.
Maybe but Ben, it's your calling. You've been given to us, I believe, as the man that can lead us to victory. I said that from the day I met you, and I've seen nothing since to change my mind. I think that you're a man on a mission. You are exactly what the nation needs, and I think there's no stopping us now. I really believe that.
Well, thank you. There certainly won't be we won't fail for want of trying. Absolutely. Every single thing that needs to be tried and tested to deliver the result that we all want will be tried and tested. There won't be a single page that won't be turned over. No stone left unturned. We're going to do everything.
Brilliant, Ben. Right, before I go, I'm going to give obviously a big shout out. Please nip over to advanceuk.org.uk. Sign up today. Ben is winning our country back. He's fighting on our behalf. Ben, thanks for joining us this morning. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for all your support.
My pleasure.